So I've been preaching this for years now, and it's time to make a video on it. So just because you're buying cheap coilovers does not mean that they're going to be bad coilovers. I've seen this issue now across a number of brands. This is actually set number 5 for me, and it's pretty much the same song and dance every time. They weren't all my coilovers. I had coworkers and friends. I had Godspeed, Fortune Auto, and then I had a set of max speeding rods. A friend of mine had max speeding rods, and now these also are max speeding rods. Some people were like, oh, don't put max speeding rod coilovers on there, you're gonna ruin it. Like, the Avalon ride's so nice. Let me show you how the Avalon rides. Terrible. Does not ride good. Literally bottoms out, scrapes, literally getting cuts of the tires from it hitting the fender. It's bad. So time for max speeding rod coilovers. So off the rip here, I have a dial gauge here. And if you measure this gap from factory, that's set to 40. This is not the actual problem, but this is just a highlight that from the factory, they don't really care what these are set at. This one is at 35, 36. So the problem I'm talking about is spring preload. I've seen it both ways where, like with this set, the spring preload is set to what they recommend, but that's way too high. This was set to 7 millimeters, which is literally what the owner's manual says to set it to. Rule of thumb is 4 millimeters. So when I got these out and I put them on, I checked the spring preload before I put them on, and I was surprised. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually set, because my last set of max speeding rods, my friend's set of max speeding rods, and my friend's set of Godspeed, all of them were not set properly at all. So there was the spring was compressed super tight on one side, and then the rear was way too loose, everything like that. That's how it was on my Lexus with the max speeding rods. The front was like chopped springs, the rear was like a Cadillac. It rode crazy, it was terrible. And you set the preload to 4 millimeters, and it's like a completely different set. It is insane, the difference this makes. People do not realize coilovers are not meant to be taken out of the box, installed, and they're perfect. You have to adjust them. That's like taking a scope out of the box, slapping it on your gun, and then missing every shot and being like, wow, the scope sucks. That's not how it works. You have to set these up. These are fine instruments, basically. You know, I mean, obviously they come from racing. You have to set these up. So the way I did this was I started up front. I got the fronts dialed in exactly how I wanted, and then I am now moving to the rears. So to show, these are newer-ish struts. I don't know when they were replaced, but somebody replaced them. When you're doing this, speed bumps are your best friend, because you can compare the front to the rear and then see what you need to do from there. I went over a speed bump. The front max speeding rods genuinely took it better than the rear did. I was astonished. And if you tell anybody these max speeding rod coilovers ride better than OEM struts, they're gonna look at you like you're from a different planet. And for anyone thinking that maybe the front took it better than the rear because there's some other bad suspension back here, that is not the case. When I got this, the rear subframe was completely rotted out, so it's got a new rear subframe, these lower alignment, trailing arms, everything like that. All new sway bar end links. So this is all solid back here. Okay, so before I get them in the car, I'm going to get a base measurement of the spring length itself. You don't have to do this, you can do it in the car. I'm just doing it for the video, basically. So what you're gonna wanna do, find a spot on the spring where you can measure from every single time. So I go right against where the coil starts, and I will butt this right up against there and then measure it. So right now, they have the spring preload set. It says that it's preset at 7 millimeters, that's what they recommend. I think that's too high for what my use is. Now, if you're using these strictly on the track, that's probably fine. So you wanna start taking these collets. Sometimes they're a little tight, so you might have to do a little tap here. So there you go. Back this one down. yourself some room here. And this one is the one that sets the preload. So start loosening this so there's no tension on the spring. So you should be able to get it to a point where this is loose enough that you can spin by hand. That lets you know you're pretty close. And so the spring, once it's unloaded enough, you should be able to be like literally move free. There's no tension on the spring at all. That's when you want to measure your length of the actual spring. This gives you your base measurement that you will subtract from to give you your spring preload. So preload is given in millimeters. It's because you are physically compressing the spring by that much. So I will start measuring. Since it is given in millimeters, it helps to have a centimeter or millimeter tape measure. This one obviously has centimeters on it. So go from a place you can replicate. And this spring is 22.5 centimeters. So I'm going to do 5. So that will put me right at 22 centimeters exactly. You just want to make sure when you're tightening everything back down that this actually sits on the purchase properly. It is possible to get this kind of out of whack. So as you start tightening this back down, make sure everything is looking good. And then what you'll want to do, obviously I don't think I'm going to get it. You want to check how much you're compressing this. Oh, look at that, that's 22 on the dot. Wow, I am him. Okay, so there you go. I just set my spring preload for 5 millimeters. So it went from 22.5 to 22 exactly. What you want to do is go ahead and get this back, lock this down. You want to make sure you hold the top one in place because it is possible that if you start reefing this down, make sure you're on it all the way or it could slip like that, especially when you're under the car, bust your knuckles, that's no fun. So want to make sure you're holding it in place so this doesn't move at all. Give it a couple taps just to make sure it's in place, and when this is installed on the car, I'll double check it to make sure. So that is spring preload. This one is now preset to 5 millimeters. I think that's going to be a lot better than the factory 7. Again, these are universal parts. They're shipping to everyone who are using these for daily driving, for drift events, for drag strip, you know, you name it, autocross, whatever. Everyone should dial these in to what they're using it for. I'm daily driving this, so I want it to be comfortable. If I was using this for autocross strictly, I would set it to 7. I might even go past that, who knows? Whatever feels good. So this needs set every time though, for sure. Coilovers are not for the lazy. You're going to have to install these, run them, see how they feel, adjust them. You're gonna have to adjust the height probably a couple times. You're not gonna get it first try. You're gonna have to adjust the spring preload a couple times, see what feels good. You're gonna have to adjust the bound and rebound, the dampening. You're gonna have to adjust all of this numerous times. It's not gonna be, let me throw it on the car. Oh, it's perfect. That's why people think these are shitty. Because out of the box, these are probably not set up how you want them. They're not gonna be good for the street. You throw them on the track, yeah, it might go good for you, but. Now, if you're also thinking you want coilovers because they are adjustable, and let's say during the winter you can crank them up and then ride at stock height, and then, you know, summertime drop them back down, I can tell you that's not gonna happen. With the amount of effort that goes into getting these set up and dialed in, you're not gonna be wanting to get in there and messing with them too much. Also, if you don't have something like this is a coilover sock, these can get very corroded and they can just seize in place, and then you're not doing anything at all. All right, guys, let me know what you think of the video. I'm sure I'm still gonna get some hate, people saying, oh, bro, just can't afford real coils, you know, everything like that, which, you know, disclaimer, I've never owned a, quote, nice set of coils. I've never had BCs, I've never had KWs, anything like that, so I can't say how these ride comparatively. I know that out of the box, they did ride shitty. And I know that after adjusting spring preload, they ride better than OEM. All right, I hope this helps. And if you are considering cheap, shitty coilovers, I hope this gives you the confidence to understand just because they're cheap doesn't mean they have to be shitty.